On day 4 of our trip, we went to the Hobbiton Movie Set. It was a 3-hour drive from Auckland. Who was Tolkien? John Tolkien was an English writer and professor at the University of Oxford. He was the author of the high fantasy works, The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. Tolkien began writing The Hobbit in 1930, and it was published in 1937. The first sentence he wrote was, "In a hole in the ground there lived a hobbit." He completed the manuscript 7 years later. He started writing The Lord of the Rings soon after the publication of The Hobbit. It was published in stages between 1954 and 1955. Peter Jackson has been a fan of The Lord of the Rings since seeing the 1978 animated film and reading the books. Jackson worked for a year to acquire the film rights from MGM. Filming for all 3 movies was done in New Zealand, taking advantage of the country's landscape. The Lord of the Rings trilogy was one of the most ambitious film projects ever undertaken, with a total budget of $280 million. The entire project took 8 years from pre-production to release. The farm, owned by the Alexander family, was chosen by director Peter Jackson for its rolling green hills and idyllic landscape, which closely resembled Tolkien's description of the Shire. Hobbiton was created by transforming part of a working farm in Mata, New Zealand, into a movie set for The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. The set was then enhanced with hedges, gardens, and even a large oak tree brought in from a nearby location.
Filming to start. Peter Jackson came back on day 1 of filming. He took one look at the tree and he said, "Lads." Well, he probably didn't say lads because he's a Kiwi, not Northern Irish, but if you imagine he said lads, you've left the tree out in the sun for 8 months. It has been bleached of its colour. The tree is the wrong colour. Now, Peter Jackson is a perfectionist, so what do we do now? We paint the leaves. We hand paint 376,000 leaves. It took 5 days. And I would imagine on the 6th day some resignations were handed in. But then when we decided to open up the set for you lovely people once the filming was finished, that is when we replaced the silk leaves with the plastic ones, because nobody wanted to repaint the tree every 8 months. Now, this is the Hobbit version of Bag End. However, these stone steps you see here, they're original. They were put in for The Lord of the Rings. They have not moved since that day, which makes them very special. There aren't too many things left on set that are original from The Lord of the Rings days. These are the same stone steps that Elijah Wood, Ian McKellen and Martin Freeman have all walked up. And Martin Freeman, who played young Bilbo in the Hobbit trilogy, he sat right there where that bench is when he filmed his opening scenes for Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey.
No, you can't take any plates home.